Tempered chocolate is a heat treating process for the chocolate that produces a shiny chocolate with a nice snap. There are two methods to temper chocolate. One is a seeding method that you can use if you have already tempered chocolate. The other is a heat treatment only method, which we will be using today since we have chocolate chips. We're going to need a double boiler. That's a pot with water and a bowl on top of it. This prevents any of the chocolate from burning as you are melting and heating it up. And you'll need an instant read thermometer or candy thermometer to monitor the temperature.
At a microscopic level, chocolate molecules can be placed into 5 distinct arrangements. Each arrangement is called a crystal structure and is labeled 1 through 5. Untempered chocolate is made up of all 5 crystal structures randomly distributed. Type 1 crystals have the lowest melting temperature at about 63 degrees Fahrenheit. Your skin temperature is usually much higher than this, which is why untempered chocolate will quickly melt in your hands. Type 5 crystals have the highest melting temperature at about 93 degrees Fahrenheit. The process of tempering maximizes the number of type 5 crystals to give tempered chocolate its distinctive properties. As you heat up the chocolate, the crystals will disappear one by one as their melting temperature is exceeded. Once everything is melted, the only solids left will be some impurities. These impurities will become important in a moment.
The chocolate is melted and we're about, a little over 115 degrees. So now we just need to let it cool down a little bit.
As the chocolate cools, crystals will start to reform when the temperature of the melted chocolate drops below the freezing temperature for the crystal type. Crystals cannot just form anywhere though, they have to follow a couple of rules. The first rule is that crystals must start forming at an impurity. The second rule is that once a certain type of crystal forms, it can get bigger, but it has to remain the same type of crystal. Tempering exploits these rules by maximizing the number of type 5 crystals. By cooling to about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, you are creating a temperature condition where mostly only type 5 crystals can form. It's too hot for the other types of crystals to freeze, except for maybe a couple of type 4 crystals. Once the chocolate melt reaches 80 though, you want to raise the temperature back up to about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. This will melt any type 4 crystals that did form while you were at 80 and will promote the growth of type 5 crystals. You need to hold the chocolate at this temperature until type 5 crystals have started to regrow at most of the impurities. If all the impurity sites are now type 5 crystals, there's no opportunity for any of the other crystal types to form. As you cool the chocolate, the type 5 crystals will continue to grow until the chocolate is solid. Now you have a fully tempered chocolate made up of just type 5 crystals compared to the untempered chocolate you started with that had all crystal types.
You can also test to see if you have good temper by taking a little bit on the back of a spoon, smearing it on some parchment. That should cool down in just a couple of minutes. And if it's nice and shiny and has a nice snap, you'll have a good temper. If the temper is not to your satisfaction, you can restart the whole process by raising the chocolate temperature up to 115 and going back through the cooling and reheating steps. After tempering, you'll see a nice shiny surface on the chocolate versus untempered is pretty dull. You'll also notice untempered just kind of breaks and begins to melt on my fingers versus get a nice snap with a tempered bar.